Ahoy, Dangote Business School in Nigeria. I'm super excited to be here. And what I want to do is let me tell you a story. I want to tell you a story about a pimple. That's right, about a pimple that I had. Now, I was giving a keynote in Santa Barbara, California, and it was a big deal for me. I was still up and coming in my speaking profession, and it was a big audience with a 3-camera shoot. So I needed this footage for my speaker reel. And right before I was supposed to go up on stage, about 30 minutes before, I had a huge pimple on my forehead that decided to crown, and it was very obvious and very big. And I was freaking out. I was texting some friends of mine, asking them what to do. I don't normally get pimples. I was about to go on stage. This was a big deal for me, and I thought that my pimple was a big deal. So one of my friends suggested that instead of, worrying about it, I should tweet about it. And I said, "Are you kidding me? Why would I share the fact that I have a pimple on my forehead with the world?" And he said, "It's because it's going to help make you human and you'll get some good ideas." So that's exactly what I did. I tweeted, "Hey, everybody, I've got a huge pimple. I'm just about to go up on stage and I don't know what to do." Well, immediately the replies came in. There were people who said, "I need to just pop it." There are people who said that I should just wear it proudly. Then there are people who said I could get creative, maybe put a sweatband and see if I could cover it up. And then I had another friend of mine tell me, "Makeup, my friend, just cover it with a little makeup." And what I ended up doing was following Winnie's advice. Somebody in the green screen had some cover up makeup cover. And so I put a little bit of makeup on it, and then I thought I was good to go. And I walked out to the event. But to my surprise, the event, which had this huge backdrop, this LED screen, it had a software where it showed all of the recent tweets. And so my face and my pimple was all over the stage, the exact opposite of what I wanted to happen. And I was just sort of panicked at the moment. But the cat was already out of the bag. Everybody already knew. And so I ran up on stage and I said, "Yes, I have a pimple. Let's go." The whole place erupted and it was so much fun. This is the stage. This is showing how pumped up I was. It was probably one of the best keynotes I'd given, one of the most exciting moments that I can remember speaking. And it was on the brink of being one of the most frightening moments for me, all over a stupid pimple. Now, why am I sharing this story with you? I'm sharing the story with you because it's okay to be human. And in fact, the real highlights, those are the things that happen when things go wrong, because that's when we learn about ourselves and that's when other people learn about us. My name is Ryan Foland. I'm a speaker, I'm an author, and I'm a ginger. You might also know me as Bra Quickway Ginger because I've spoken a few times in your area, not physically in Nigeria yet, but I spoke in Guam and I got that nickname, Bra Quickway Ginger. My book that I wrote is called Ditch the Act, and it really means to ditch the act and be yourself. Okay. Don't worry about pimples. Don't worry about what goes wrong. And I'm going to share with you here in this talk about how you can build an authentic personal brand by sharing more than just the good stuff. So I want you to think for a minute. If you were a superhero, yes, if you were a superhero, what superhero would you be? Would you be Batman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, She-Ra? Who is it? Who's your favorite character that you relate to? Think about it. Now, no matter what your answer, I want you to realize that every superhero has something in common. Every superhero has a backstory. Now, if you want to think about my experience and my story, it's like everybody's. There's a lot of ups and downs and career changes and great things and terrible things and happy things and sad things. But at the end of the day, that's all my story. My story is also my experience. I have a black belt and I have experience in martial arts that's helped me from a business standpoint. I played hockey, I skateboarded, I was in construction for a while. There's a lot of different things that I've done, which collectively is my experience. But it also is my expertise. Now, I want you to think for a second about the difference between your experience and your expertise. And I want to challenge you to answer the question, which one do you think is more important? As you're building your authentic brand, as you're getting a name for yourself and your community in the world, is your experience more important or is your expertise more important? I think that your experience is more important than your expertise. And the reason why this is empowering is because not everyone is an expert, especially even if you're in business school right now. But your experience, I believe, is the key to building an authentic personal brand. And that is because experience comes from failure. And guess what? We have all failed. It is okay. It's when we learn from these failures that we grow. Because failures have an opportunity for us to learn, and that learning is what makes our experience. And our experience, that is translated to other people through our story. So think of it like this way. When you fail, you learn, and there are stories that you can tell about that. And when that creates content, or you create content and you share that with others, that's what can create connection. Okay. The content, the sharing the stories, the podcast that you might be on, the keynote that you give, the conversation that you have with a friend or a colleague, that content, I want you to think of them as little brand crumbs, like little crumbs that you're leaving behind so people have a better idea of who you are and that they can get to know you. You know, oftentimes when we look online, we see a lot of people talk about their stories of success. But I want to tell you that people don't care about your story of success. Sometimes it puts them off. What they do care about is how they see themselves in your story. And here's the key to relate to people while still showing them who you really are. Because in life, we all have good things and we all have bad things that happen to us, to our family, to our businesses. You know, look at us recently with this pandemic. There's a lot of bad stuff, but there's a lot of good stuff. And the reality in between there, that reality that you experience is your reality. That experience is your brand. And your brand is something that is your own personal brand. Now, I want you to ask yourself another question. Do you right now, at this moment in time, do you feel like you have a personal brand? And don't worry about throwing in the chat. I want you to just think about it. Yes or no, you have a personal brand or not? Well, based on your answer, the correct answer is that you do have a brand. I repeat, everyone has a personal brand. If you answered no and you don't think that you do, I want you to realize that you might just not be participating in your personal brand, but you have it. Your brand is who you are. And that includes a combination between what you think about yourself and what other people think about you. That intersection is your personal brand. Your brand precedes you. People start to make up judgments and ideas about you before they even meet you. They'll probably look you up online. So your brand is in front of you, whether you know it or not. It is your job title and what you do or what you study, but that's not it. There's much more to you and your brand. Your brand is what other people talk about when you're not there. Your brand are all of the little brand crumbs or content that you share on social media. Your brand is what you do for fun. Your brand is what you write about, what you speak about, the conversations that you have with friends. But it can be confusing because online you see everybody posting all of the shiny stuff, all the good stuff, them in bikinis and looking like models and having fun. And you're like, oh, what am I supposed to do? People default to a highlight reel, which is all the good stuff. It's the best pictures. You take a whole bunch of selfies and you do the best one. Maybe you take photos of your food, even though you're hungry and you just want to eat it, or you highlight vacation photos and then you don't share anything else. That is really called a high like reel. That's when we're trying to get people to like us based on the content that we share. That should not be the goal. You don't want people to just like you, okay? You want people to get to know you so that they can choose whether or not they like you. And if they like you based on getting to know you, then they might trust you. and you can't download trust, but you can build trust online over time as you create content. So as you look at yourself in the mirror and you might see a number of different things that you do, I want to tell you that there's just one of you. And I want you to feel comfortable showcasing your highlight reel. These are the things that happen, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's who you are. And when you do that, you can ditch the act and you can be yourself. Now, how do you get people to really know you? That's the question, right? Sounds good in theory. Well, the reality is that you get people to get to know you by the stories that you tell. I've got plenty of stories. You just heard one. Remember, when you fail, you learn, and that is your experience. And so in each experience, ask yourself, what skills did I learn? Here's an example of skills that the modern day employer is looking for. These skills, these are what you learn in life when things go wrong. And when you find those stories and share them, people can actually get to know you, and they can get to know your whole story. Now, I encourage you to share your story in a bio. If I go to try to find information about you online, can I find it? A bio is just a series of stories. If you are on an interview or you are on a podcast and somebody says, tell me about your leadership skills, I want you to answer with a story. Well, let me tell you about a story when I learned what really leadership really was. It was this time, this date, this place. Here's what went wrong. I wasn't the best leader, but that's when I realized these different things that I need to work on, and I've worked on that, and that's why I'm a good leader now. If you want to write a blog is just your story and the lessons that you've learned. If you want to make a video that tells a story and then shares your lessons. There's a transition where you tell your story and you let people know, I'm telling you this because, just like I did in my example. If you are on a podcast and somebody asks you, tell me about X, Y, or Z, maybe it's tell me about your business idea. Well, let me tell you a story about how I came up with my business idea. If you want to give a TEDx talk or a keynote or a speech, it's just a story and a lesson and a story and a lesson. That's exactly what I'm doing here. It's a formula that you can use. And it showcases the skills that you have. You see, your skills come from the lessons that are explained by the stories of when things go wrong. So the good news is you can use all the stuff that's gone wrong to share with people about how you've grown. So your experience plus your failures is where you get your skills. You learn, try, do, document it through content. That's your digital footprint, and that is your authentic brand. That is you. So own your whole story. Embrace the good and the bad. Find your voice and start to share it. You know, storytelling is the greatest asset that you have, and your stories are the best stories to tell. So own your whole story and help people get to know you, like you, and trust you. You got to overcome your fear and share, but when you do, it allows people to start to care. And you don't have to be anybody other than yourself. Trust me, it may sound hard, but once you start to do it, you gain confidence in who you are. So here is the deal. Let me give it to you real. The key to connection is to learn to reveal, because you are not perfect and neither am I. And that is the exact reason that we see eye to eye, because everybody's different, but we are all the same. To be perfectly imperfect is how you win the game. And if you only showcase good and do not share the bad, you will miss connections that you never knew you had. So when you learn to ditch the act and learn to be yourself, you open up a window to have people help you out. There's a little rap for you. And at the end of the day, I want you to know that your success is just half the story. An authentic brand covers more than just your wins, more than just the highlight reel. It is your highlight REAL. So ditch the act and be yourself. And it's okay to be human, because that's the one thing we all have in common. Now, if you do want to find me, follow me, connect with me, I'm super easy to find online. It's just ryan.online. And until I am in Nigeria and see you all there in person, maybe next year, I would like to say it's been a pleasure to be here speaking with you. And please do connect with me online. I'd love to connect on any of these channels. Thanks again for the opportunity. And you all have a great day and a great rest of this conference. Adios.